This is the horror movie with the strangest special effects I've ever seen. If you're scared, now's your last chance to scroll away. A woman wakes up to find black fungus, like wood ear mushrooms, growing from her thigh. Despite the searing pain, she pulls them out. But the torture doesn't stop. Every day, new mushrooms sprout from her body, tea tree mushrooms on her arms by day, and golden needle mushrooms growing out of her ears at night. Even vines try to crawl into her mouth while she sleeps. This all started because deep in this ancient forest, an old type of spore drifts through the air. Once inhaled, it mutates the human body hundreds of times faster than radioactive waste. Look closely. The roots of a tree are fused with a real human body that still moves. Get nearer, and you can even see a wedding ring dangling from a thin branch. That's what happens when you breathe in the spores. Prehistoric fungi take over your body until you become a terrifying mushroom creature. The forest was quiet until one day, two reckless park rangers wandered in. While Gabby was scouting with a drone, she suddenly saw a human-shaped figure flicker across the screen. Thinking it was just an animal, she insisted on retrieving the drone. David gave her an hour to regroup before heading to the next survey site, but the drone was actually taken by two local tribesmen. On the way back, they carefully reset their traps and, very strangely, put on masks. Then they pulled out a single mushroom, and a cloud of spores visibly drifted out. These spores acted like a conscious swarm, flocking to other nearby fungi as if alive. Once the spores dispersed, the two quietly collected the edible mushrooms into a wooden bucket, removed their masks, and walked away. But unlucky Gabby soon stumbled into one of the traps. A sharp spike pierced straight through her foot. She tried to call David for help, but he was deep in the forest fixing equipment and had left the radio back on the boat. Suddenly, a shadow darted past her. Gabby didn't dare think twice. She yanked out the spike, screaming in pain, and her cries reached David in the distance. She limped toward the boat, but in her panic, the radio slipped into the water. Gabby stood up trembling. The bright sky instantly turned to darkness. A blood-red door appeared before her, seeming to lead to another world. The spores had returned. She followed a faint light and found a small cabin at its source. After making sure it was safe, she collapsed on the floor. Half conscious, she suddenly convulsed, then coughed up a slimy seed. Just as Gabby jolted awake from the nightmare, two wild figures burst through the door. They were the father and son who had set the trap, but they didn't hurt her. Instead, they treated her wound. Ryan was once a plant pathologist. After his wife died during a mission in this forest, he chose to stay here with his son. But Mike was visibly shaken. This was the first time he'd seen a woman in 18 years. As the three shared a hearty dinner, David outside was facing a terrifying situation. He had fallen into a swamp, and across the water, a shadowy figure stood staring directly at him.